And welcome to the Tearsheet Podcast, where we explore financial services together with an eye on technology, innovation, emerging models, and changing expectations. I'm Tearsheet Editor-in-Chief, Zach Miller. For 2 decades, Squarespace has been the platform entrepreneurs turn to when they want to build something that looks like they hired a designer. But over the past few years, something has quietly shifted. Squarespace hasn't just been building websites, it's been building a financial stack. Payments launched in 23, Capital followed in 2025, offering merchants flexible financing based on their sales history. And just 2 weeks ago, Squarespace launched Balance, a native business financial account integrated directly with Squarespace Payments, giving merchants a business Visa card, cash rewards, and faster access to their funds, all inside the same platform. It's a familiar playbook. Shopify has run it, Stripe has run it, but Squarespace is doing it for a specific kind of entrepreneur. The creative type, the maker, the small business owner who wants to run their whole business from one place. Today, I'm joined by the person architecting that vision. Corey Zettler is the Director of Product Financial Solutions at Squarespace, where he leads strategy across payments, capital, and checkout. Before Squarespace, Corey spent more than 15 years at companies like Shutterstock, MakerBot, and Chief. And before that, he was a wealth planner, which means that he came into product from the money side, not the tech side, which makes him an interesting person to think about what financial services actually needs to do for real people. Corey, welcome to the show.
Hi, my name is Corey Zettler. I'm the Director of Product for Financial Solutions at Squarespace. And so what that means is Squarespace is essentially all of the different tools and services we provide our merchants to transact and to earn their wages on online presence on websites. And so that includes checkout, payments, risk, capital, balance, which is what you're here to talk about today. So all the different tools that we offer our merchants.
So website host, by the way, I've been a customer for years of Squarespace and different, not necessarily for Tearsheet, this brand, but we've used it to launch event websites, and it's one of my favorite tools out there. Why get into financial services? Can you take us back to like the genesis of why you guys made that decision to do that? Because it's not necessarily, you don't necessarily pair website hosting with financial services. Like where did that come from?
Yeah, totally. And so, Squarespace has been around for 20 plus years and is known for beautiful website design and getting online presence up and running easy for its users. And there's always been a need to grow a business. It was just primarily done as a secondary nature. So if you want to transact, you can connect different processors, connect different systems, and we're happy to facilitate that for you. I think with the pandemic and the advent of more and more people coming to create presence online and wanting to share their expertise and their experience and grow their business, it was more important for us to take more ownership of that process and to enable more flexibility that we'd already done on the website side, but for this financial side as well. And so we've been leaning into that more and more with the services we brought, but wrapping that Squarespace element around all of it.
So temporarily, can you talk about, I guess, the first products you rolled out? Like payments is obviously the lowest hanging fruit, makes sense. Can you take us like sort of how you decided and when you staggered in other financial services beyond payments?
Yeah, so Squarespace Payments launched in 2023 to a small group of users and then more broadly in 2024. And it was the first product we introduced for the larger overall financial suite. And really the main reason for that was we wanted to offer flexibility for our merchants who needed a little bit more than they were getting off the shelf with your Stripes, PayPals, and things like that. And so we layered in our all-in-one place mentality, ease of use, beautiful design in a suite for merchants who wanted to take payments. And so we knew that there was already a use case there because our merchants had been transacting on Squarespace for a number of years already. What we wanted to do is take all the things that they wanted to do more of and bring it to them up front with that Squarespace wrap around it. So it allows us to have that flexibility in ways that we never had before. And that was why we started with Squarespace Payments.
So as you move into more financial services, in a way, it could impact the value proposition, even the way you guys define yourself. Like you're a small business tool now, as opposed to just a website host. Like, has that change impacted how you brand yourself, your marketing, like as you guys view your own value proposition?
Yeah, I think we're seeing the trust factor go up really significantly for users that come to Squarespace for one thing and then recognize that we can do many other things. Especially in this world where we're shifting more into a service commerce mentality, we really want to be known for that first. And this tool set allows us to build in the flexibility for those types of users who are coming to sell their experience, their time, their expertise in ways that they never had before. And so because we're seeing that shift already happen naturally with our merchants, we can build into that for them and offer things specifically for that use case where they may not be able to get it elsewhere. And so we definitely want to lean in more. And since that trust is starting to come up, it's flowing through to the other products.
And I guess, how did you determine which products to layer in and when? Was it from feedback from the audience? Is this the type of problem where small businesses are asking Squarespace for these types of tools?
Yeah, actually. And so, people are not quiet about the things that they need. And I think we've all experienced that. And so it was really great to hear all of the feedback, especially when we launched Squarespace Payments, of what else they need. And the biggest thing that we heard coming from those users was the need for liquidity. And so
Cash
having
is
quick
king.
right, exactly.
Yeah.
Having quick access to cash, especially for, a service seller. If you think of someone like a photographer who has a job on a Friday night, gets paid out and then has 2 more on Saturday that they need a second shooter for, how do they fund that part of their business if they're waiting normal settlement times to get their cash? And so for us, for that type of merchant, we wanted to provide that experience and that ease for them. So things like instant payouts and capital were natural next steps for us to provide that ease of liquidity.
Can you talk about some of those products more in depth, I guess, features, bells and
Yes.
whistles? Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So instant payouts was a natural next step. This isn't new. Many of our competitors have this, but we wanted to make sure that for those merchants that needed quick access to cash, we had it for them. And so that's something that we've been enabled with for about 6 to 8 months now. It's going really well. And again, merchants are excited to have that access to their cash. The bigger step was—
Is that a premium service? They pay extra for that?
Nope, everybody gets that.
Okay, good.
Yep. Squarespace Capital was the big one that we launched back in January 2025. And this was a new service that we layered on with partners to try and make sure we were offering that access to liquidity for merchants that needed it. And this is where you see merchants that they don't need cash. They need to be able to fund their inventory or float from job to next job or replenish inventory after a really big sale. And having easy access to those funds and an easy way to pay it back was something we knew we could support with the different tools we have. And so Squarespace Capital gave us that avenue to do that. And again, coming back to the fact that we're Squarespace, having it all in one place, really easy to use, really seamless for our merchants and with beautiful design was of the utmost importance.
And then how do we get to balance the new product?
Yeah. So it did stem from convenience. And really, we wanted balance to be an extension of your payments experience, right? Not necessarily a separate bank account where you have this hurdle of having to go, create it, connect it to everything else. We wanted it to feel all in one place. And that's what we've been doing with the rest of our financial products. So having balance sit as an integrated part of the Squarespace payments account and then having easy access to that cash using a Visa debit card really tied the whole thing together, right? It allowed us to say to our merchants, hey, come to Squarespace, set up Squarespace payments. And while you're already doing this, we're going to enable this other type of account for you that not only gives you rewards, but gives you easy access to your cash, and everything can kind of flow through that seamless cycle. And so it was, again, a natural process for us to go into this place. And our partners allowed us to do that.
I guess from a user behavior point of view, are your customers using this alongside other bank accounts? Has this become a primary account for them? How do you think? And I guess, how do you think about success in the product launch?
Yeah, we definitely had it identified to be a part of a complement to the business that they're already running. I mean, would I love for every merchant to come through Squarespace and to only use their balance account? Absolutely. But we recognize that's not how business is done, and people have established relationships, and we wanted this to work seamlessly with that. So making sure that you can connect your balance account to third-party bank accounts was something that we did right off the bat. And again, it needs to work in harmony with everything else that merchants are doing as part of their normal business activities. This isn't meant to be something extra they have to take on, but a complement and a supplement to what they're already doing.
You mentioned partners. I don't know if you can mention them by name, but I'm curious, as you went out to build this out, how you guys determine sort of the build by partner decision.
Yeah, I think so. We do partner with Stripe in order to facilitate all these activities. We are not a bank. We are not licensed to be a bank, but we definitely wanted to make sure that we are supporting our merchants with the actions that they needed. And this allowed us to do that quickly. And it allowed us to stand up things in a way that we may not have had the time to invest in, right? So it really gave us a good leg up in getting this out quickly, seeing how merchants are using it, hopefully quickly iterating on what we've done so that they can get more and more value out of it, and immediately start that cycle of feedback so we can see how to improve the product.
And I guess with Balance, what's some of the first feedback that's come back?
Ironically, the feedback is how can we get access to it from our existing merchants? Because we did launch it to new merchants only a few weeks ago. Existing merchants is coming, but that seemed to be the biggest feedback is, hey, how can I get access to this quickly? As a product owner, I love hearing that. But
Good
I
problem
think,
to have.
yeah, it's a great problem to have, right? So we're hopefully doing that as quick as possible and getting access to as many of our merchants as possible. And then hopefully they can see the benefit of it and use it well.
So at Tearsheet, we cover a lot of examples of existing brands that decide to embed financial services into their platform. How has that impacted Squarespace and your team, Corey, organizationally? Did you have the chops to do this in-house? Did you go out and have to, find that talent elsewhere? Like, tell me a little bit about how it's impacted the organization.
Yeah, luckily, we've been supported by a company that very much felt that this was an area to invest in over the last few years and has been giving us a lot of support in going after these different areas and providing this value for our merchants. So that has been great, obviously, to have an organization that supports you in that way. And we have a fantastic product and engineering team here that had no problem jumping into these problems and looking at how to solve them. Again, we have some partners along the way, but our team was really able to jump in and do this quickly. And I felt great about what they were able to do. Obviously, in this new world of AI, too, we're able to iterate a lot faster and see where we're going. And that's something also inherent to Squarespace, being a leader in that space. And so we're excited to kind of pair all of these different things together and getting the biggest pieces out, having a commerce org that is doing well at Squarespace, and then iterating quickly to see how we can continually provide value for our merchants.
Were there any hurdles during that process that you didn't necessarily foresee? Or looking backwards, I guess in retrospect, you would have handled differently?
Yeah, I don't know if necessarily about handled differently, but I think understanding the different legal hurdles that come with establishing financial accounts and what that means. Like I said, Squarespace is not a bank. We don't hold ourselves out to be one, but we wanted to provide the same service. And so making sure we could get through all of that process as cleanly and efficiently as possible so that we could provide this value quickly to our user base was something that, you can't really plan for the first time. But as we've launched all of these different products with payments and capital and balance, we have a pretty good playbook at this point of how to move forward. And so when we start to get to the next things, we're going to feel even more emboldened to do that.
That's awesome. I'm curious about you, Corey, because I know you have a background in wealth planning. At least that's what LinkedIn tells me.
Yeah.
Tell me about your career and how you ended up here.
Yeah, I do. I did have a career in wealth planning. I graduated college with a degree in finance, right in 2008 in the heart of the first recession.
Crisis.
And that was a great time to have a financial degree. And while I very much enjoyed the work that I was doing, creating financial plans for our clients at the time, there was just something missing from the creative side, from the problem solving side. And so I decided to switch actually at the age of 30 to go into product management. And I never looked back. That gave me a wealth of opportunity, mainly in creative problem solving, strategic thinking, and opportunities to bring something new to the table that I hadn't been able to do as a wealth planner. But I always knew I wanted to get back to that at some point. And so for me, luckily, I was able to kind of marry these two experiences here at Squarespace and say, hey, I'm going to bring this wealth planning financial background to a place where I've now had a product career in technical problem solving. What can we do with this? And for me, it's been a really great opportunity to bring those two things together and to really see it through at Squarespace.
So we've covered a lot on this podcast and in our reporting at Tearsheet on small business banking tools, financial tools, and there's lots of people coming at this problem from different directions. I'm kind of curious how you guys differentiate yourself from the others, or is this seen more as like you have a captive audience, your user base that are using Squarespace and love it and stick around, and these are added services, they add them. Do you compare yourself or benchmark yourself to external tools, or how do you think about competition?
Yeah, it is very well known that a lot of our competitors have similar products in the space. Everyone kind of bills themselves differently depending on what their licenses are, their backgrounds are. I think for us, the key is that we have this established understanding and the presence of being creative and design first, and that's part of our DNA. And we wanted that to come through.
That's the whole ethos of the brand.
Yeah, we wanted it to come through in everything that we do, and make it easy and fun to use, right? A lot of these merchants come to Squarespace to start a business for the first time without even really knowing if that's something they want to do. And not having hurdles and friction along the way is critical to that success. And this should be no different. And so having payments, having access to capital, having a balance account where you can quickly fund the things you need to do and have access to your cash is only supposed to be easier as you go and not supposed to be something else that is more complex. And we wanted it to feel that way for our merchants. And so that's really where we came from with the design and the need for this product space.
So I guess asking that question differently, do you think having this suite of financial services embedded into Squarespace tools attracts new users in the sense that because of that integrated suite, or is it, again, the captured audience and you're just doing better for them?
I think, I do think that as we lean in more to the service commerce ecosystem and really differentiate ourselves as the place to come to if you are a service seller and you want to set up shop on Squarespace, this is going to play a bigger role. And I think so that allows us that new activation of a whole different user base who knows that they can come to Squarespace not only for setting up a quick presence, but also getting access to the financial tools that allow them to thrive as a service seller.
That's awesome. And I don't know if you're able to, but can you talk more about some of the other plans you have, I guess, in the future? Like, where are you going with Balance? Are there other tools that you're going to be rolling out in the near future in the financial services realm?
Yeah, access is such a huge thing. I think we've seen, to your point, of like the trust to go up and merchants want to use these tools. We want to make sure we provide the right access and the right flexibility for all those things. And so we do have some expansion plans specifically for capital coming up in later parts of the year. Same thing with Balance. We're hoping to go on a more global scale with that as well. And honestly, I think the place that we really want to make sure we focus on next is once you have your funds, how else do you run your business, right? And so these are things of like bill pay, employee payroll, things like that normally occur in the normal business process. But now that you have that bank account, what are you doing with it? We want to be able to have our Balance account be that same extension and offer merchants that flexibility and ease of use for every part of their experience, not just coming onto Squarespace.
Well, that takes us back to one of the earlier questions I asked you. And in a way, if you offer all of those tools where you're really a small business builder, people are coming in, I guess, with the design ethos and it looks great and feels great, but they may be coming in for the tools as much as they would be for the website builder. Like, in a way, the brand is totally different.
Yes.
Yeah.
I do think we are establishing ourselves in a way that Squarespace hasn't before from the financial perspective. And, it's great, especially as we lean into that service seller commerce area, to have all the tools to do that and to be known as that is really special.
So I am apt to say my team bugs me about this. I do feel like there's a renaissance of tools that are being brought to market for small businesses. I mean, that hasn't happened today. That's probably over the past 5-7 years.
Yep.
We've had a lot of them on this podcast, but it still feels like small businesses struggle. Like what does it take really to help a small business today succeed? Because, you've seen some of these surveys, maybe you guys have run them yourself, but like the average small business owner uses, 11 to 17 different apps. And it's a mess. As a small business owner myself, I know some of the challenges, and it's like, I live that, I know that, right? So like, it's not just about having the tools. It's like getting them, how to embed them and work efficiently together, so that actually I have in a way, a new view into my business, both from cash flow and from the mechanics of my business I couldn't have had previously. Yeah. We're not there yet, I don't think.
Yeah, it's getting there. I think you kind of nailed it, which is that time is your currency as a small business owner, and your time is going to be requested in a million different places. And so for us, we want to think about how we maximize your time as a small business owner and give you as much of it back to do the things that you really want to be doing or to growing your business. Think about how to scale with the tools and the connections, and what to do with the money when it's flowing should not be top of mind, but it is, right? And we want to make that part as frictionless as possible, so that you have as much time as possible to grow in the ways that Squarespace can't necessarily play in.
We spent a lot of time, obviously, over the past, I think it's been 18 months that we've been focused on generative AI. There hasn't been a guest who hasn't wanted to talk a little bit about that. You mentioned AI already. Like, where do you see AI playing a role in helping solve some of the challenges that we've spoken about for small businesses?
Yeah, I think it's interesting because there's so much regulation around a lot of the things that we do, right? So AI has a place in it, but it isn't the only thing that we can use in order to kind of allow this path to move forward. And you don't want to get stuck in a spot where, you're relying on AI to get out of. I do think, however, that AI gives us the ability to test in with new products and new experiences faster, and allows some of the more mundane tasks that we're doing to be rapidly iterated on. So that, again, time is best used for the things we need. And so even internally on the Squarespace side, using all of these different tools to quickly get things out, to change things, to iterate, to, make updates to the product is something that we're really excited about because it allows us to move quickly and provide the value back faster at the end of the day. So I think that's a big piece. And then I am interested to see overall in the industry how the AI landscape moves more into the financial services tooling, right? We've seen it kind of come for everything. And there will be a point in time where it moves more towards money movement and things like that. And I think we're excited to try it and kind of be involved early when that happens. But right now we're just taking it day by day.
And as you were stirring the pot and building the financial services suite at Squarespace, did you take inspiration from other companies that have embedded financial services well? Have you seen good examples of that?
Yeah, I mean, I do think, our major competitors are all doing versions of the same thing. And I think that's great. And I think it kind of set the table for what is possible and where trust can be established. But there's also things that we're doing differently, like I said, around the design and the order management and just the experience within the platform that we wanted to differentiate ourselves with. So yeah, Shopify, Wix, WordPress, WooCommerce are all doing amazing things. And we all kind of play in similar arenas. But for us, it was very clear to make sure that the design piece led the way. And then, amplified whatever they had already done and set the table for.
I have time for one last question for you, Corey. It's still early in 2026. What are some of your personal and professional goals for this year?
So professional goals, I really want to, again, get all of our tools and products out to as many people as possible. I would love, as you said, for people to see the commerce suite at Squarespace to lead the way and to really be something that come to Squarespace for. So from a professional side, I'm really excited to kind of see where that goes. And personally, I want to learn as much as I can about a lot of these AI tools too. I think there's so much opportunity out there in just building apps and testing and iterating, and it's fun. It's hard not to have fun with it. And so I applaud, those companies that are building quickly to support that so that we can then leverage a lot of these tools and move forward. And if there's opportunities for us also to iterate and create and innovate in that space, I mean, how could anyone not have fun with that? So personally, I'm very excited for that. And I want to do as much as I can to bring that into this space.
Corey, thanks for joining us on the Tear Sheet Podcast today.
Thank you, Zach. It was a pleasure.